Okay, are you able to hear now? Sushma? Saikat? Is it audible? One of you can respond. Shoaib, is it audible for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Yes. Fine. In the last class, we have been discussing about the prioritizing handoff, and you know the problems with respect to this prioritizing handoff. The main problem is that it is confined or it is applicable only for the rural environment. That is, when we go for the urban environment, we can't allocate or we can't reserve the channels, especially for the handoff calls, because there will be more number of host subscribers who are in the need of service. So in that case, we are not going to specially allocate or reserve the channels for the rural environment. I mean, for the handoff calls that is being originating from the other cells. Okay, so this is only applicable for rural environment, and it is not applicable for the urban environment. So as of now, we have dealt with all these issues and strategies of the handoff, and uh, and the necessity of queuing also, because if we are putting in queue, that is, if the host call or the call that is originating is putting in a queue, then it need to wait there for a longer time until the service is allocated to the particular call. Then what happened is that there won't be sufficient time for the handoff to initiate, and later the call will get terminated. Okay, so to solve all these handoff issues, the practical handoff considerations, we will go for umbrella cells. Okay, the speciality of the umbrella cell is that in one cell you will have a large number of base stations, but with a different antenna heights. You can see a large transmitting antenna over here that will be providing service to the entire coverage area. So if you have if the mobile user is in a high velocity or in the large speed, it will get the coverage area for this entire zone. Okay, but if you are a pedestrian or if the mobile user is a pedestrian, then there is less frequent handoff chances. So in that case, the service is being continued with a base station or an antenna with a smaller height. Okay, so you will have a large transmitting antenna with a high power that is transmitting over the entire coverage area. Simultaneously, in the same hexagonal cell, there will be some subcells where you can have small antenna or a small base station or a small tower that is rendering service to pedestrians or the static mobile users. So in this way, this umbrella cell approach is able to get and is able to provide the service for dynamic range of users with different velocities, either for the pedestrians or for the normal vehicle users or for the high speed vehicle users like train. Okay, so thereby the small microcells can afford or can get the service or can give the service for low speed traffic, at the same time large umbrella cell for the high speed traffic. So as from this figure, you can see a large hexagonal cell. In the center, you will have a large height base station mounted with an antenna, and it is with a high transmission power. At the same time, inside this large hexagonal cell, you will have a number of small subcells, again with an hexagonal in shape, but it is mounted with a small height tower mounted with a low power antenna. So that is meant for giving service for pedestrians or static mobile users. Now, these are the typical handoff parameters. As you can see, in the first generation analog cellular system, the threshold margin is 6 to 12 dB. Okay, you know that what is delta? Delta is the difference between the power level of threshold at which the handoff should take place minus the power level at which the usable minimum signal to be ensured. Okay, if the signal level that is received at the mobile user is going below the usable minimum level, then the call will get terminated. So there should be a margin or safety margin to be ensured so that the handoff will take place in advance. So that margin is nothing but 6 to 12 dB for analog cellular system for the first generation, and it will take approximately 8 to 10 seconds for completing the handoff. So in advance, this handoff should occur. Okay, otherwise the call will get terminated. And for the digital cellular system, you can see the difference in parameters. You have the threshold margin 0 to 6 dB and the total time is taken for completing the handoff from 1 to 2 seconds. So handoff will take a little bit faster. So you can, ensure that the service is not being terminated in between. So connectivity is being continued. Okay, so even though the velocity or even though the mobile is dynamic in behavior, still the service is being continued. So this is enabled by Mahu. As I told you, you have two approaches, either by using mobile assisted handoff or by using MSC. So in the first generation system that is making use of analog cellular system, that handoff is being initiated by MSC with the help of base station. But for the digital cellular system, since the MSC is so much busy in handling other works, so we have slightly decreased the load from the MSC, and now the same process or handoff process is being initiated by BS along with MS, that is base station along with the help of mobile users. Okay, so you can say that the delay has been tremendously decreased. The total time to complete the handoff has drastically decreased to 2 seconds from 10 seconds. So that is the advantage of using digital cellular systems in terms of handoff parameters. And also the threshold margin delta is also 0 to 6 dB. Okay, whereas here you have 6 to 12 dB, and here the margin is 0 to 6 dB. So that is the difference between the threshold margin in for the analog and digital cellular systems. Now, coming to the next topic, reuse ratio. So as of now, we have discussed the cellular concept followed by the handoff approaches. The two different broad categories of handoff are soft handoff and hard handoff. And under the practical considerations, we have come up with the solution. The solution is umbrella cell approach. Okay, with that, we have completed the handoff strategies and the practical considerations of handoff. Now we will go for the reuse ratio. So with the familiarization of frequency reuse concept, whatever we have studied in the first part of this particular module, it is understood that the cellular approach has come only to increase the capacity, because we have only limited number of channels available with us. The spectrum is very much limited. At the same time, the total number of subscribers is huge. Okay, so to allocate the bandwidth or channel for all the subscribers, what we need to do is we need to replicate the cluster. We'll recall the concept of cluster. In cluster, you will have n number of cells. Each cell will be allocated specific number of channels which are not identical, or they will not be sharing the channels within the cluster. But to cover the entire geographical area, we need to replicate the cluster. Replication in the sense, the set of channels will be repeatedly allocating to different cells, such that the cells that are sharing the same channels are known as co-cells or co-channel cells. These co-channel cells should be placed in a very large distance apart so that less interference should take place. Okay, what will happen if the cells are sharing the same channels and those cells are very much close to each other? Then there will be severe interference. So when we are trying to increase the capacity, normally we will have to compromise the interference. Means the interference will be severe. Okay, so how we have to increase the signal to interference ratio? Here we are not concerned with signal to noise ratio, because noise is inherent to a system, but here something is coming from outside the system or outside the cell. So that is why we are connected with signal to interference ratio. So the design engineers or the system designers are focused on how to increase the signal to interference ratio. Means interference need to be minimized, at the same time capacity need to be increased. Okay, so for that, what we have to do is we have to maintain capital D very large. So please note what is capital D. Capital D is a distance between the center of two hexagonal cells that are sharing the same channels. Please make it down. Please note down. D is the distance between the center of two cells that are sharing the same channels, or they can be called as co-channel cells. Okay, if we are installing a base station at the center of a hexagonal cell and another base station in another hexagonal cell. And these two hexagonal cells are assuming that they are sharing the same channel, then they can call it as a co-channel cell. And the distance between the co-channel cells is represented by capital D. It's nothing but the distance between their centers, center of the two cells. And this D, the parameter D, we need to increase. Why we need to increase? To minimize the interference. Clear? And the value of D can be now written as R into root 3n. So this is from the geometry. So you don't want to go for the derivations and that. So just remember this equation. That is the equation that is connecting the cell radius and D. R is a cell radius or cell size. Capital N is the cluster size. You know what is cluster size? In a cluster, how many number of cells are there? That is what is known as capital N. So if we increase the value of n, what will happen if we increase the value of n? N means the cluster size, or we are accommodating more cells in one cluster. Why we go for more cells in one cluster? Because there are more subscribers and we need to share the channel, isn't it? So we have divided the entire cluster into different cells and we are going for more number of cells. So if you are increasing more number of cells means, then the channel shared per cell will decrease. Suppose if it is a 7-cell reuse factor, 7-cell reuse means in one cluster you are having 7 cells. Okay, then the channel that is allocated to one cell in that particular cluster will be 1/7 of total channel in the entire spectrum. Suppose in the entire spectrum you are having 600 channels with you. Okay, then what will be the number of channels as allocated to one cell in this particular example? It will be nothing but 600/7. At the same time, if you're going for 12 reuse factor, means in a cluster you are having 12 cells, then the factor or the fraction of cells that is allocated to one cell in that particular cluster will be 600 divided by 12. It is again little bit less. So the number of channels or the available number of resources has come down if we consider per cell as a strategy. Yeah. So if you increase the number of cells, why you want to increase the number of cells? Because you need to accommodate more number of subscribers in the geographical area. Yeah. So we have increased the cells, but increasing the number of cells will reduce the channel assigned per cell. The number of channels allocated per cell will come to a low value if you increase n. The same time, that means the capacity has been decreased. Capacity means the total number of voice calls that can be accommodated in the given channel will become decreased, because for one cell we are having only 600/12 when compared to 600/7, isn't it? So when we increase n, what has happened here? The number of channels allocated per cell has come down, so we can't accommodate more subscribers or more voice calls at given time, at given point of time simultaneously, means the capacity will come down. Okay, so increasing the cluster size will reduce the capacity, at the same time D increases. Please note down the third point. Increasing n will increase D with respect to that above equation. D is proportional to capital N. So if you are taking more number of cells in a cluster, then the distance between the two co-channel cells will increase, because in between you are having some other cells sharing some other channels. So naturally the distance between the two cells that are sharing the same channel will increase. That's capital D is more. Okay, so when you increase capital N, the value of capital D will be more. Here, if you increase capital D, what is happening there? There is less chance of interference. Interference will come down, so the signal to interference ratio will increase. So please write down all these points. One point is, if you increase n, what will happen? Write this. If you increase n, then what about the capacity or the number of channels allocated per cell? It will decrease. Number of channels allocated per cell will decrease. You think about the example for n equal to 7 case and n equal to 12 case. If n equal to 7, if there are 600 channels allocated to the entire spectrum, then the channels allocated for one cell will be 600/7. At the same time, if you go for 12 channel reuse system, then the channel allocated per cell will be 600 by 12, which is comparatively less. So we can't accommodate more messages or more voice calls per in given cell at that particular point of time, as we have increased the cell cluster or cluster size. Okay, so that is one point. If you increase n, channel capacity decrease. But at the same time, if n increase, d increase. D increase means interference decrease or SIR. What is SIR? Signal to interference ratio. SIR will increase. So channel capacity has decreased and SIR will increase whenever you increase the value of n. Any doubts with respect to this point? I'll repeat it again later. Okay. Now think about if n becomes less. Come from 12Ks to 7Ks. If you are having only 7 cells in one cluster, means your one cell will have 600 by 7 number of channels, which will be better than the earlier case. So in that case, more voice conversations or more calls can be connected simultaneously. So that is one advantage. Here, so if you decrease the number of n, channel capacity increases, but since n is proportional to capital D will decrease. Or you are forcing to keep or locate the two co-channel cells very much close to each other, means interference increase. Interference increase means what is S by I ratio? S by I is signal to interference ratio, that will come down. So if you're trying to increase one parameter, you need to compromise another. So whenever you are increasing n, what will happen? Capacity increases, capacity decreases. At the same time, SIR increases because D is very large. Spacing is very large. Spacing large means interference will decrease. So signal to interference ratio will increase. If interference decreases means the quality of the signal that is received at the mobile station will increase. There is no crosstalk. There is no background noise. There is no background signals. Clear? So that is one aspect. And if you are decreasing n, of course you are increasing the capacity, but the co-channels are coming more close to one another. Co-channels are coming more close to one another and interference will increase. Clear? So whenever you are trying to increase the capacity by decreasing the value of n, you are facing issues in terms of interference because the co-channel cells have come more close to each other. D has decreased. D means distance between the center of two co-channel cells has come more close to each other, that results in interference. So interference is increased, SIR ratio will decrease even though you try to increase the capacity. This value of D to R ratio is called a reuse factor. So you take this R to left side, so D by R ratio can be written as √3 of n, which is known as reuse ratio. So this is important for your numerical. This measures the quality of the signal. So if you want to increase the quality, what we have to do? Anybody can say? If you want to increase the quality, what you need to do here? Forget about the capacity. You need to increase the quality. What you need to do? Sushma. Forget about the capacity. If you want to increase the quality of the entire system, what you need to do? Vidya BM.
So should we increase the number of clusters?
That is what? If number of, no, you can't say number of clusters. You can increase the cluster size. Please be aware of the fact that number of cluster is different from cluster size. Cluster size means number of cells within a cluster. Number of cluster is different. Okay, cluster size means number of cells in a cluster. That is what is represented by capital N. You are not bothering about the cluster numbers. You are bothering about the cluster size. Clear? Cluster number is different. Cluster size is different. Cluster size means how many number of cells are accommodated in one cluster. So the only way to increase the quality of the system is to increase n. What will happen if n is increased? If n is increased, d will increase. Means the co-channel cells are far apart from each other. If co-channel cells are far apart from each other means d is more. Then d by r ratio is more. Numerator is more means that ratio will be more. So that ratio is nothing but your quality Q. That is nothing but reuse factor. So reuse factor is measuring the quality of the entire system. This is represented by d by r ratio. So what is d by r ratio? It is equal to root 3n. So that depends on the number of cells in a cluster. Please don't tell it is cluster number. It is cluster size. What is cluster size? Number of cells within a cluster. Cluster number means it is the replication, that how many times the cluster is being repeated again and again to accommodate the entire geographical area. That is different. Okay, that is for availing service to all the subscribers in the globe. We need to replicate the same cluster again and again. That is different approach. But as of now, what we are doing is to increase the quality of a cellular system, we need to increase the value of D. D means what is D? D is a distance between two co-channel cells. That is cells sharing the same channels. There should not be any interference with each other. Okay, quality of the received signal should be huge. So that interference should be minimum. To make the interference minimum, the co-channel cells should be placed far apart from each other. So you need to increase D. To increase D, what you have to do, you need to increase value of N. Hope it is clear for you. Can I move to the next slide? The main goal is here. We are going to define what is interference. There are two types of interference, that is co-channel and adjacent channel interference, and how we are going to calculate the signal to interference ratio. See here, as a system designer or a system analyzer, here you are not going to bother about signal to noise ratio. Noise is something which is inherent to a system, but here the noise is coming from outside the cell or from co-channel or from adjacent channel cell. Okay, so we are bothered about interference other than noise. So we would like to calculate the SIR of a system. It is not SNR, it is SIR, signal to interference ratio of a system. To increase the signal to interference ratio, you need to minimize interference. To minimize the interference, what should we do? We should space the co-channel cells very far apart from each other. For that, we need to increase N. Okay, as per this previous equation. If we increase N, D will increase. If we increase D, it is meant that the two co-channel cells are sufficiently spaced far apart so that interference will less. Interference less means SIR ratios denominator is decreasing, so signal strength will increase, quality will increase. So basically there are two types of interference. One is co-channel and another one is adjacent channel interference. Now you read the concept of interference. Read the point. Interference is a major limiting factor in the performance of a cellular system. Okay, whenever you take a cellular or mobile communication, the main important factor that is, affecting the performance is the interference. So we can't mitigate the interference, but the only way is you can decrease the effect of interference. Okay, you can't avoid interference. There will be interference. Because of that, there will be crosstalk. Because of that, there will be background noise signals. But you can suppress the effect of interference by carefully designing appropriate tuned filters at the receiver end. The receiver end is able to tune to a definite frequency, and if the receiver is interested only in taking that particular frequency alone, then we can suppress the effect of interference, because we have discarded all other unwanted frequencies of our interest. Okay, they will not be coming along with the tuned output. There is high chance that adjacent frequency will come into our desired message along with our desired message signal also. Because two cells, if they are very close to each other, maybe for one cell I have allocated the one bandwidth, And for another cell, the MSc has allocated a continuous bandwidth. There is no gap in between the two bandwidth. So there is a continuous bandwidth allocated to two neighboring cells. In that case, there is a high chance of adjacent channel interference. Adjacent channel means since the nearby cell is using a frequency which is very much closer to our allocated frequency, then there is high chance of interfering, because since the quality of the receiver is not so par, or it is not so good, then the other frequency will also, or the neighboring frequency will also get to our desired output. Okay, so that should be avoided. So carefully tuning or carefully adjusting the receiver's characteristics or the tuning capacity, we will be able to increase the performance of the system. Okay, and the after effect of this interference is that the quality will decrease. Ultimately, there is a high chance of dropped out calls. Okay, the calls will be terminated in between before finishing the conversations. Now, how can this interference, or from where and all this interference will come into picture? Either this interference will come from another mobile in the same cell. You know what is a cell? A cell is having a base station at its center, which is having a high power transmitting antenna, that's mounted over there. So under the cell, you will have a large number of mobile subscribers that is moving around. For all the cells, we have allocated the same channel or a set of channels, a group of channels. So in that case, there can be an interference from another mobile user that is roaming under the same cell or under the same base station. That can be treated as an interference source. Another cause of interference is a call in progress in a neighboring cell. The two cells are very closely attached. The second cell is a neighboring cell to the host cell. And since the second cell is making use of a frequency that is much closer to my frequency, then a call that is progress in the second cell can be considered as an interference source, because their frequency is similar as that of our cell's frequency. That can be called as an adjacent channel, adjacent cell interference or adjacent channel interference, because the two channels are very adjacent to each other and they are having a continuous frequency spectrum. Clear? One is the continuous of other. So there are, that is very much close to each other. So if you are tuning to that particular bandwidth, maybe starting or the beginning of the second slot will also come to our tuned output. That is not a desirable approach. So this is another source of interference. Third source is other base stations operating in same frequency band. This is what is known as co-channel. I have a cell number A at this particular point, and after a particular distance, you have another cell which is labeled as A only. Why I have labeled A? Because that cell and this cell are sharing the same set of channel. Why they have allocated the same channels? Because we are facing with the frequency spectrum, limitations in the frequency spectrum. So we are forced to share the channels among different cells. So in that case, two co-channel will exist in the same cellular system. These two channels will have two base stations separately, but the two base stations are operating in same frequency band. So there can be chances of interference from one base station to another base station. This is called co-channel interference. Second approach is called adjacent channel interference. Adjacent channel means a call which is in progress in the neighboring cell will have a or will send a interference signal to our own cell. So that will act as a background noise. Okay, so that's nothing but adjacent channel interference. Why this happened? Because the two cells are sharing continuous spectrum. May not be same. Actually, the frequency allocated will be different only, but one is close to another. One frequency band is very much close to the other frequency band, and still they are very close to each other also. They are neighboring cells. They are treated as neighboring cells. So that is what is adjacent channel interference. Co-channel means two cells sharing same channel. They will have two base stations, but they are operating in same frequency band. As a result, the interference will occur. So it is called a co-channel interference. That is a third source of interference. These aspects are clear for you? Unmute and speak. Is this Stannis? Is it clear for you?
Yes, sir.
Now I'll go to the next slide. So in the next slide, you can see the different effects of interference. I told you interference will lead to, or it will cause the crosstalk and noise in background. So ultimately, the signal to noise interference ratio will decrease. If there is crosstalk in the background, or if there is noise in the background, then SIR will decrease. What is SIR? SIR is signal to interference ratio. So that will decrease, and ultimately the signal that is being received at the mobile user will be, the signal strength will be below the threshold, and ultimately the call will die out or it will get terminated. So this should not happen. So this is one effect of interference because of the voice channels. Now again, because of the control channels, there can be some errors in the control channels, like signaling errors and all. So because of that, the calls can be missed. The call, that is before the called subscriber is taking the call will get died out. And it can be blocked call also, means they are not getting the service at all. The call is not at all initiating, so it can be a blocked call. Even the calls can be a dropped call. Dropped call means the call was in progress, but in between the call get terminated abruptly. That's what is called dropped call. These chances may occur because of the interference in control channel. You know, there are two types of channels. Every cell will allocate a fixed number of control channel and fixed number of voice channel. Without control channel, you can't have a clear access on voice, isn't it? Through control channel only, we are trying to initiate the call, set up the call. Everything is going to exploit through the control channels only. So once sufficient control signals is being sent from the mobile user to base station and vice versa, along with the help of MSC, then only the voice calls can be set up by making use of voice channel. So if you take any cellular system, the cells will have a definite number of control channel and definite number of voice channel. Because of the error in voice channels, or because of the interference in voice channel, a call may have a crosstalk or a noise in the background. Similarly, because of the interference in control channels, a call will get dropped out, or it can be a blocked call, or it can be a missed call. You know the difference between three, I hope. Missed call means call is trying to, call is initiated actually, but we are not going to establish the voice conversation. We are not going to have the voice conversation, in fact. But the blocked call means we are not able to initiate the call itself. Okay. So because of the control channel errors, the subscriber is not able to make the call. All the channels available are now in busy state. Okay. No handoff is also happening. MSC is in busy state. There is no channels especially allocated or reserved for this handoff calls. So nothing is happening. That is nothing but blocked calls. Dropped call means initially I was able to set up the call, conversation actually begin, but in between, due to something, or maybe due to the dynamic behavior of the mobile nodes, or due to the mobility of the mobile nodes, this mobile may be traveling away from the base station in such a way that their power is decreasing, and MSC is not able to perform handoff in an advanced way. So it is nothing but a dropped call. In between, service is terminated without completing the conversation. So that is nothing but the dropped call. So these calls, like missed calls, dropped call, and the blocked calls, are due to the errors in control channel. Crosstalk and the noise in background are due to the interference in voice channels. I hope this is clear for you. So these are the effect of interferences. Now, as I told you, there are two types of interference. One is co-channel interference, that is CCI, and another one is adjacent channel interference, that is ACI. You should know the difference between these two, as I already told you. CCI is nothing but the interference that is caused due to the cells sharing the same frequency band. So it is actually the interference coming between two base stations sharing the same bandwidth. Maybe because the two co-channel cells are closer apart. They are very close. Why they are very close? Because n is very less. If n is very less means d will be less, because of the geometry equation. From geometry, we have already gone through an equation. The equation is going like this. What is that equation? D equal to R root 3n. For latecomers, I'll repeat, D equal to R root 3n. If n is less, D is less. N is the cluster size, means number of cells in a cluster is less, means D is less. D is nothing but the distance between the two co-channel cells, or the distance between the center of two co-channel cells. If D is less, means normally they are very close to each other. As a result, interference will increase. So that is the case of co-channel interference. If D is very less, or if the cells sharing the same channels are very close to each other, then there is a high interference chances. Now, what is ACI? Adjacent channel interference. That is caused due to the signals that are adjacent in frequency. I take two cells, they are very close to each other. They are sharing not the same frequency, but close frequency. Their bandwidth is continuous. Okay, I have a F0 to F1 bandwidth for one channel. The other is starting from F1 to F2. So the two bandwidth are continuously allocated. Okay, they are very adjacent to each other. In that case, the interference may happen because of the low quality of the receiver's antenna or receiver's module. So you should have a appropriate, efficient tuned filters at the receiver